Hey guys, this is Jay and we are working on the text mining playlist with Spacey. In this video, we are going to go slightly beyond the basics and try and explore to implement some real world use cases in text mining. Yeah, in the past 5 videos, we just started with the basics, try to play with the Spacey package and trying to implement its features, but I felt like try to narrow down to some real world use cases and think about how Spacey or the text mining packages in Python could help and solve the solution. So in that way, I think like we can learn better and thought like it will be very useful for the technical community whomever watching this video. So I thought that will be the best way to go. So let's get started, and I want to get the top 10 keywords from a text. Okay, actually when you have a huge document, even without looking at the document, how can you get the overall context of the document, right? That's what I'm trying to do. So just by looking in the topmost occurring words in your text, and you can get the overall context within the text is what the idea is. So I have quite a bigger text which we have played with a couple of days, and the same text I'm taking and I'm trying to use my Spacey language model and parsing my text to the NLP object I created, and I'm removing the stop words and punctuations using simple Python dictionary to count the tokens, and if it is occurring more than once, it is going to keep incrementing its number and executing it, and I'm sorting it and printing the top 20 occurring words. And you could see Tendulkar has occurred 40 times, India test match run century. Okay, this document we have is, has information about a player called, cricket player called Sachin Tendulkar. The greatest ever, cricket player called Sachin Tendulkar has played some test matches and he actually scored some centuries, and he played against Pakistan. He is born in Bombay, and these are all the important keywords. That is what we are getting from this overall text. So moving on, sentiment analysis is a kind of a wide most implemented or the very popular use case of a text mining within your text, so that whether you do the Twitter sentiment analysis or whatever, right? So I have selected some 3 text, and one is my quite positive. The second, I want to give challenge my implementation, and try to see how it can perform, and I'm saying the food is quite bad but the service is good. And the third one is, this is just a chair which doesn't say anything. So I'm parsing it, and I'm using my sentiment polarity component of my text blob. We are slightly moving away from Spacey and try to implement various things and try to choose which is best. I have implemented NLTK's package before, and even Spacey has its sentiment scores, but let's execute this. So the first one is, yes, it is expected. We get 73% positive, but the second is more interesting. We have a score very close to 0, but it is slightly greater than 0 in some 0.000 decimals, and still classify as positive. But the third one is called as negative because it doesn't have any polarity. So pretty much this is the implementation within your text blob, and we have to choose whatever really works for you and do the data pre-processing and whatever you want, and try to implement the best package you have. So let's move on, and language detection in text, which I felt like pretty interesting, and I have implemented in my various assignments, but I want to get this and explain it. And I have 3 texts. One is in Tamil, the other one is in Chinese, and the other one is in Russian, and I want to print detect what is my language in all these 3 texts. And the first one, it says 71% it is calling as Russian, and it is saying it's RU, it's Russia. The second one is 99, almost 100% it says Tamil, and the third one almost 100% it says Chinese. Yep, it does a pretty good job. And this is quite complicated to explain, but I'll try my level best to explain. Entity ruler feature in Spacey is quite advanced feature where your you can create your patterns within the within your data, and you can use the entity ruler feature in your Spacie implementation to parse your pattern. Go through your pattern and apply the pattern within the text you have. So this is kind of a very pretty advanced, where based on whatever the patterns you create, this entity ruler feature will absorb that and try to implement and narrow down and get some very specific information you are looking for within your text. Sounds complicated, but let's see the implementation. So I have some laptop related information. I have Dell, Lenovo, Apple, blah blah blah, and it has a sub classification like what is the submodel and what is a series and all these information. And I have created some patterns, and before that I have imported my entity ruler package as part of my Spacie pipeline, and I have created some functions to create some patterns, right? I'm creating some patterns. So if I get all these things we have seen yesterday, where you can create some patterns like lower, is punctuation, all these things you guys are familiar now. And this is the pattern I create, and I'm applying that entity ruler feature, and I am parsing the text using that NLP object that is revised after it goes through the function that does the create patterns. So this is nothing but the create patterns function which I have written, and this object, entity ruler object, goes through this create patterns function. It absorbs more details and it creates some additional metadata of kind of a pattern that is added to my pipeline. And then I'm passing my laptop text, and if my entity is only product or organization, trying to print it. So what I'm trying to get only the patterns which I'm looking for. And let's see what it's printing. Even I'm pretty surprised to see for the first time, even I haven't implemented this before, and this looks interesting. I do get the versions of the laptop: Dell G5, G7, G-Sync, RGB keyboard, Lenovo Yoga M1. That's interesting. Apple inclusive, Macintosh, MacBook Air. So this looks pretty interesting, right? So you have some huge amount of, maybe you have some mix and match of text information. For example, you have Sachin Tendulkar details and you have your laptop details, and you are looking for in your 100 pages of text. Try to look for only the laptop related information that may be occurring in some very few pages, right? So what is very specific laptop related details they are talking about in this, in your 2005 kind of a book came out. So maybe that could be a pretty good use case, and using your entity ruler you can implement this kind of a use cases. Pretty advanced and thought of sharing. And pretty much this is it for this video, and we'll be continuously talking and try to do more use cases. Even I'll try to learn whatever I don't know at this point in time, but I have implemented some text mining related stuff in my projects, but I will keep exploring on whatever the things which I really don't know, and which is pretty interesting to implement, and keep trying to educate, and educate is not a right term, maybe share my knowledge, whatever. So pretty much this is it for this video, and please like, subscribe, share, and we will come up with more interesting content in the next set of videos. Thank you.